much, the MTO Misses. This is part 5 of our Germany trip. And this time we went to the castle of Hohenzollern. Okay, and this castle was on the top of a large hill, small mountain. I'm not quite sure how it's classified. But that's the only thing that was up there. So getting to the castle, we had to take a bus, which was fine. Limited runs of these buses, but we timed it pretty well. And so the bus took us up, and that gets you at, sort of halfway up the mountain. And from there, you took a shuttle bus that took you the rest of the way up to the castle. And so the castle was largely intact. It had lovely areas walking through it. When we went into the museum, I kind of think that was the best part of it. We walked into a room that had the Hohenzollern family tree, and it was all on the walls, and it was a wonderful way to encapsulate stuff Anthony's been teaching forever. So he was especially interested in it, and he spent quite a lot of time talking with one of the docents about the about the display there, about the painting. This comes into play later. So from there you go into a room that is a dining room, and the table is all set up as it was in 1814 when a bunch of people got together to talk about Napoleon's defeat in 1814. And so they have this table the same way it was there. So you have gold and silver place settings. What really got me were the flower table settings. They just went all the way through, and it had big showy flowers. It was phenomenal. And of course the woodwork in there was exquisite. The table was beautiful. I mean, just everything about it was just such a wow factor. Then we went through more of that. Anthony's still talking to the docents. I think you changed to a different one at that time. And so we made our way through the museum, and the rest of it wasn't as interesting to me as those first two rooms, although we did get to go down into the Casemates, and that was kind of cool. Even though I'm a little claustrophobic, that didn't bother me. And so we ended up into the square when we got out of it, and so that was really a cool area. So from there, it was time to go back down. So we went out, we picked up the shuttle, and we got down into the waiting area. We have about 40 minutes until our bus is going to be here. Good timing, no worries around that area. We could get a drink and something else while we were waiting. I think we got a postcard. And so while we were sitting around waiting, we noticed the clouds were getting darker and that it was starting to sprinkle. Okay, as a weather nerd as I am, I looked this up and went, uh-oh. We were forecasted to get rain later in the day, much later in the day, not 5 o'clock. Just so you know, because we were completely unprepared for this. So we were looking for shelter areas where we could sit. We ended up spending a good part of this we spent a good part of the storm under a bike rack that had a pretty good cover on it. Unfortunately, it went the wrong direction for us because the wind picked up and we were just getting soaked. So there was this little kind of a hut type area that we had seen some people in it before. It wasn't open like to the public. And so we were trying to get just see if we could get under that because it had a pretty good overhang and see if we could get out of the wind. Well, some people had come in there, workers from up above in the castle, and they got dropped off by the shuttle at that hut. So they were in it and they left the door open there. So we ended up talking to them. Turns out it was the two docents that Anthony had spent so much time talking to. So one of the men called the bus company because, I'm skipping that, it's now almost 30 minutes before since the bus was supposed to arrive, but clearly it's not coming, the man called the bus company and they said, well, they didn't think they'd make it up the mountain with the rain. Now what do we do? This is not a short walk. I mean, we're talking 10, 20 miles to get just back into the city at the bottom of the hill. So the docents there remembered us and they said, oh, we'll give you a ride to the train station. So, oh my goodness, it blows my mind when people are so kind like that. We were really in a pickle there. So they took us down to the train station, just dropped us right off, and so we could dry a little bit and made our way back home. So that was our real excitement with this. The castle was wonderful. The adventure afterwards, it's a good story, but it was not so fun at the time. So enjoy the video.
Keep shrinking. Hey everybody, Joyce and I are in Hechingen, and we're on our way to Burg Hohenzollern to visit that castle. A little bit of a panic to get here. We had a 12-minute window and our bus was 13 minutes late, or our train was 13 minutes late. 12-minute window, 13-minute late bus. Fortunately, the other train also had a bit of a delay. Probably they were holding it because they had a large group of school kids that had to catch that train. So there's the castle right there. We're gonna go up to it, and no, we're not hiking that hill. You got to take a shuttle bus up to it. Of course, there's an information sign Joyce is going to read if she has time. So, we made it. Are you ready to go in? We should get out of the way. That car wants to come in. We're walking into Burg Hohenzollern, the castle that was this family's home before they became the rulers. Oh. Whew. Thanks. Sorry, B. I assume we go up and around. But we're going to take a view and see what we can see through all the crenellations. But there, I got it on widescreen so I can get a little bit more in. And our third gate to go through. Very well. And our fourth gate. Didn't film the first one because that was down a level near the parking spaces. The hill to get up here is very steep. And you just circle around the side of the hill, even now. Just bend, 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 bend. In the old days, you would have had soldiers, guards, watching along the walls there. And here we go. That's now this castle has gone through many iterations. Oh, I didn't grab one of the maps. And gate number 5. Oh, good. This is wild. Those clearly have tunnels that connect them. Huh. Wow. First I thought they might be holding cells for prisoners, but some of them connect. Or they're old windows. See, this is an old arrow loop, but then they built a wider one. Yeah. Yeah. More arrow loops to shoot down on the entrance. Okay, so now this long hallway into more walls and crenellations. Amazing. And then, oh, look at the huh. Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche. So you can walk the parapets. I don't know if I'm really cool with that. We're out on an open concourse. Oh my God. What a view. What a view. Little church down there. Hey, hang on, Joyce. Well, you. We just come through one gate that says the Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche. We're walking the outer wall. This is I don't think it's as big as the Heidelberg Castle, but its fortifications are impressive nonetheless. Oh, you're good. You guys are good.
Okay.
All right, I'm doing my dodge, shuffle, stutter step with my fear of heights. I don't even want to look how far down it is. It's just down far enough. And just how much there is here. so I think I'll just walk. So we got Kaiser Wilhelm, who was also King of Prussia until he died in 1888. So, okay. His brother, William, who was king before him, but William got sick and he actually had mental problems and stuff and was removed, and William was made regent, and then he died, and then oh my God. I don't think there's any way of getting this in shot. Look at that tower going all the way up above me. That's the direction it just came from. And so we continue our circuit. You're probably hearing the wind. More of the kings of the Hohenzollern dynasty. Frederick William II. And Friedrich der Große. Now this is the guy that built the Hohenzollerns up to a major power. This guy let it slide, and his son had to redo it. Got his son, Frederick III, I think it was, or got his butt handed to him by Poland, or by Napoleon, and had to revamp it all, which he did, and that led to Prussia being part of the final alliance with General Blucher that defeated Napoleon and then re-defeated him at Waterloo, where the Prussians won the Battle of Quatre Bras. So here's Frederick William I, King of Prussia. Very stern guy. He helped build up the Prussian military and economy so that Frederick the Great could do what he did. The first guy to get to call himself king. Now you'll notice here, König in Preußen, and here it says König von Preußen. This was a deal made. You see, part of Prussia at this time was in Poland, and part was a duchy of Poland, and part was a duchy of the Holy Roman Empire. And Brandenburg was the big state, and Preußen was the smaller area. But Preußen had better land and access to the Baltic Sea and some other things. And so in 1701, as a deal with the Holy Roman Emperor to fight in the war of, I believe it was Spanish Succession, he granted Frederick the right to call himself king in Prussia. He couldn't call himself king of Prussia because the Polish king was opposed to that. So he was a king who happened to be in Prussia. And then a few years later, things happened with Poland, and they just took all of the Prussian territory out of Poland, added it to their territory of Brandenburg, and renamed the whole area Prussia. And then here is der große Kurfürst, the great Elector Prince. This is the guy who really took the Hohenzollerns from, I don't want to say nobodies because they were already dukes, but they were dukes of an area of Brandenburg that was really just, he was Kurfürst von Brandenburg, Elector Prince. And there's a long story, which I won't bore anybody with, of how at the time the Hohenzollerns being raised to the level of Dukes of Brandenburg, which is where they got their name changed to Hohenzollern because they were raised up to dukes, and made Dukes of Brandenburg from this place here in the Schwäbischen Alb, the Swabian Alps, not Alps. You can't go any further that way. Oh, what a beautiful view. Even beautifuler. Yeah, so, but Brandenburg was considered a backwoods, nobody place, meaningless place. It was crappy farmland, wasn't important, but it was a shot at the Habsburgs because of the 7 people to be named electors of the Holy Roman Empire. The Habsburgs were conveniently left off that list, even though they had the most land and were the most powerful family. So that was Charles IV, the same Charles IV that everything in Prague is named after, named the electors. And so he raised this small family up to dukes, gave them Brandenburg, and then made them electors as an insult to the Habsburgs. But it was this guy who made all kinds of deals, especially during the 30 Years' War, that made him very rich. For a small fee, small being a joke term, Sweden was allowed to land and base its terms. So he stayed neutral, but Sweden paid him to bring their troops over. Now, Sweden could have invaded, and he knew that. So he made a deal with King Gustav Adolphus of Sweden that, hey, instead of invading us, we'll support you, but pay us. He also imported potatoes along with Frederick the Great as a crop staple that turned what was a poor land into a very wealthy land. There we go. All right, we're going through that gate. This castle is just so in on itself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So Austria went in on it with the idea that they would share certain things, and that like Kiel, something would be declared a free city with Austrian access and taxes. Mm-hmm. I forget exactly what the deal was, but the whole point was they weren't going to live up to the deal. They were going to use the deal and then backstab Austria to provoke Austria. Because once you secure, you're starting with the little guy, Denmark, secure the northern border. Then, all right, let's put the Habsburgs in their place once and for all. We'll use the victory terms of the Prusso-Danish War, 7 Weeks War, whatever it was. And so, yeah, he used that as an excuse to go to war with Austria in the Austro-Prussian War, which the Germans won. And then, okay, now the biggest fish to deal with, France. Information Cafe Souvenir Shop. that way. Amazing tower gates. This is a fortification. Now, obviously it was rebuilt multiple times, but wow. This and Heidelberg are really impressive.
Yeah, from over there. She don't stop.
You know, it's hills and trees, but what a view down into the valley this castle commands. I have wanted to see this castle. Heck, originally I always thought I'd just be happy to see it from the bottom and not be up on it. And yep, I'm up on it. Oh, he died at age 25. So list the names of guys who died when this castle was attacked.
They stop.
So it's another chapel.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't go into the one. St. George killing a dragon.
Don't mind me seeing, it's a little dragon.
I don't. Similar to the Dodge crest.
Okay.
You got the dog above the helmet.
Yeah.
This is St. Michael's Capella. All right, do you want to go into the inner rooms? Or it's like, yeah.
I would think a little bit at least.
Okay. Well, do you want to do that now or do you want to go elsewhere? Although actually that looks like you go in and come out there.
Let's see what the heck.
Okay. The ancestral hall. So here is the family tree.
Oh, yeah. It's a big family tree.
Oh, wow. Too cool. So this is the entire history plus the some of the cadet branches. And then some of the territories they ruled in. So here you go. So the first. Now notice what it says there. Hohenstaufen. But then one of the branches goes up, and there you see rulers of Brandenburg, and then how they're connected to the Habsburgs. This is very cool. And then my brain has the crazy question of which one was cooler, the one in Schwerin where you had the portraits of everybody in order, or this massive tree that has all the different, like who they married, other branch lines that went off to. Are you ready for this? Bam. Okay, I've been in a lot of castles, but I've never seen this. So there's the guy who started it. It's Kurfürst and Markgraf zu Brandenburg. That's when they really rose to power. Oh man. Epic. So this castle was heavily remodeled in the 1800s, and that it was then finished and fitted out for William I, but he never stayed here. He visited, but he didn't stay. And there's Friedrich Oettinger. Oh my God. Amazing. This was a king's private chamber. Look at the guys on the wall. Did I lose Joyce? Queen Louisa sleeping. So a portrait of her as she died in bed. the departure of Queen Louisa in 1811. Are the paintings from 1811. And she died here. That was Louise Augusta Wilhelmine Amalie, Queen of Prussia. She died here. But yeah, she died here. So this was the attendance room. So you would have the Queen's room on one side, the King's room on the other, and their royal attendant was here. And you've got all the family portraits up here. So the dude in the red up there, that's Albert, who married Queen Victoria.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not getting that in. And then the Zimmer die Kammerfrau, the lady in waiting. So many paintings and statues. This is another one of those just amazing. Oh, recognize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You even have to look at the ceilings. That's something you have to do every room you go to. And then the Queen's bedroom. So the four-room. Look at these peacocks. And they could sit on the chair. What a view you could have while eating. Beautiful clock there. Another room, the adjutant's room. And again, you sat here and waited to be summoned. Okay. Friedrich der Große mit seiner Hunden. And now we go upstairs. A garderobe. Cookroom with a hat. So this would have been a princess's bedroom. Again, a little sitting room. And then bed and... So when you had daughters and you were looking to marry them off. And then she had her own private room here for entertaining friends. Living in bedroom of a prince. So this would have been okay. We can't go up, we can only go down. Quite possibly.
Sorry, not.
Okay. Because there's that same statue of Frederick the Great, I think. Yeah. That, I think, is an old Frederick the Great.
Yeah.
Oh, here's our collection of silver platters. I want tea service number 3 today. New Gothic. Suits of armor. God, look at that sword. That's a Landknecht sword.
What?
That's a Landknecht sword.
Landknecht?
Basically a broadsword. The Landknecht were a type of swordsman that came into play in the 1500s and into the 1600s. And they carried big swords like that. And they became very popular mercenary units. You could have Swedish Landknechten, but the Saxon and certain other ones were very famous. They just, they were armed to the teeth. Do we go further down?
We can go down. Casemates. Entrance to the casemates.
Entrance to the casements.
This is how you can escape from holes.
Yeah.
Not typically lit up this well.
Guard room. Oh, dangerous footage here. Yeah, I don't know. When does your claustrophobia kick in? Oh, and back out. for a second. When you want to escape somebody attacking that part of the keep. All right, horse stalls this way, they said. Yeah, this is actually a parking area, but what the heck. The old Royal Horse Stalls. Joyce heard horses, and she's gone. Oh boy. Sure they had others, you know, and this is just like some of these here. But yeah. Horses had a lovely place to stay. Okay. So we just finished our trip up the castle, which you can't see because it's up the hill behind the trees. But I didn't get to film this on the way in. But you got this little Turm Zwinger. I mean, I would call it a Zwinger. So like a mini keep. So whether it was a lower guardhouse to protect the entrance up to the castle, and there might have been more here, but yeah, very cool. Willkommen auf der Burg Hohenzollern. Grass around it. It's all right.